You're lying in bed at 2:47 a.m., phone face down, heart pounding for no reason you can name. You just sent the message, the one you swore you'd never send, the one where you finally said everything, every feeling you swallowed for months, every excuse you made for her, every time she went cold and you convinced yourself it was fine. And now you're staring at the ceiling, waiting, replaying it. You can feel it in your chest, that hot, sick mix of relief and regret, like you just set fire to something you spent a year building. And the worst part, you don't even know if you want to take it back. Your brain won't shut up. Did I go too far? Why do I always end up here? I was the patient one. I was the understanding one. So why do I feel like the villain right now? How did I become this version of myself? Here's the truth nobody told you, bro. You didn't snap because you're broken. You snapped because you're a super empath who spent way too long pretending you didn't have needs. And she's an avoidant who spent way too long punishing you for having them. You're not crazy. You're not too much. You're not the toxic one in this story. You're a man who finally hit the wall after months of feeling everything while she felt nothing, or pretended to. By the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly what happened in that moment you snapped, why it was actually the most honest thing you've done in months, what it did to her on a psychological level that she'll never admit out loud, and most importantly, who you have to become so you never end up in this dynamic again. Let's get into it. Most guys think the super empath snaps because he's weak, because he couldn't handle it, because he lost control and ruined a good thing. But here's the real truth. The super empath doesn't snap from weakness. He snaps from a level of emotional overload that the average man would have walked away from months ago. He snaps because he absorbed her silence, her mixed signals, her hot and cold withdrawal, her emotional unavailability, and he kept translating it into love. He kept making it make sense. He kept softening her sharp edges in his own mind so he could keep showing up for her. And she felt all of it. That's the part that matters. An avoidant woman doesn't experience your patience the way you think she does. You think she sees a loyal, understanding, emotionally mature man. What she actually feels is pressure, closeness, intimacy, the exact things her nervous system is wired to escape from. So she pulls back. You lean in. She goes colder, you get warmer. She disappears, you wait. And every time you absorb her behavior without protest, her gut whispers something she'll never say out loud. He'll always be here. I don't have to choose him. I don't have to show up. He'll take whatever I give. That's the trap, man. Your empathy became her permission slip. Your patience became her exit ramp. And the snap? The snap was the first time in months she actually felt you. Not the version of you that managed her moods. The real you. The one with a limit. The one with a spine. The one she suddenly realized she'd been taking for granted. And here's what changes everything. The snap wasn't the end of your power. It was the beginning of it. 1. The moment the mask finally cracks. Most guys think snapping means losing control. They think it's the moment they failed, the moment they became that guy. But here's the part nobody talks about. The snap isn't a breakdown. It's a boundary that arrived 3 months late. A super empath spends months performing emotional regulation he doesn't actually feel. He smiles when he's hurt. He says, it's okay when it's not. He sends no worries, take your time when his stomach is in knots. He's not being honest. He's being strategic, hoping that if he stays calm enough, she'll come back. And her gut feels the performance. She doesn't know the word for it, but she senses something is off. Her brain says, why is he never upset? Why doesn't anything bother him? Something doesn't add up. The wrong way looks like this. She cancels plans last minute for the 5th time, and you write back, all good, whenever you're free. The right way sounds like this. I'm not going to keep rearranging my life around plans you don't honor. Let me know when you're actually ready to show up. No yelling, no paragraph, no begging. Just a man who finally stopped pretending. And when you do that, she feels something she hasn't felt in months around you. Gravity, the kind that pulls her back toward reality with a thud. 2. The silence that finally scares her. Most guys, after they snap, immediately start backpedaling. They apologize, they explain, they send the, hey, I didn't mean it like that, follow-up. They rush to repair the damage before she has time to feel it. Bro, that's the mistake that erases everything you just did. The silence after the snap is the most powerful weapon a super empath has, and it's the one he almost always throws away, because her avoidant brain is wired for one thing: to feel safe through distance. When you chase, she relaxes. When you explain, she calms down. When you apologize, she goes right back to her comfort zone where she controls the temperature. But when you go quiet, when you say what you needed to say and then disappear into your own life, her nervous system finally feels what yours has been feeling for months: uncertainty, hunger, the unbearable weight of not knowing. Not loud silence, not punishment silence, not "I'm waiting for her to text" silence, but grounded. I said what I meant, I'm living my life silence. The wrong way. You snap at 11 p.m., then by noon the next day you're sending, "Hey, can we talk?" The right way. You snap, you mean it, and then you go to the gym, you call your boy, you sleep well, and you let the silence do the work words never could. That's emotional caffeine for her brain. She'll start replaying every word you said. She'll start wondering if this is the moment she actually lost you. And for the first time in the entire relationship, she'll be the one chasing the feeling. 3. The identity shift she can feel through the phone. Most guys think the goal after snapping is to win her back, to prove they're still the good guy, to show her they're not that kind of man. Here's where it gets interesting. The goal isn't to win her back. The goal is to become the man who would have never tolerated the dynamic in the first place. Because here's what's actually happening on her side. An avoidant woman has an internal radar that's almost supernatural at detecting whether a man's strength is real or performed. She can feel the difference between a guy who's pretending to be unbothered and a guy who's genuinely moved on in his own mind. She can feel it through a text, through a single word, through the gap between your replies. The wrong identity sounds like, "I'm going to act distant so she comes back." The right identity sounds like, "I'm not acting at all. I'm just done auditioning for someone who couldn't see me when I was right in front of her." This isn't a tactic, man. This is who you're becoming. A man who doesn't punish, he just protects his peace. A man who doesn't argue, he just exits dynamics that don't honor him. A man who doesn't beg for clarity, he creates it by walking. And her gut starts whispering something she's terrified to admit. This guy doesn't need me to validate him anymore. He's actually gone. That's the shift that turns regret into obsession. 4. The truth about why she comes back. Most guys think when she finally reaches out, the "I've been thinking about you" text, the "Can we talk" voice note, the random "I saw something that reminded me of you," that it means she's changed, that she finally gets it, that she's ready. She's not. Not yet. And this is where most super empaths lose the entire game. Here's the deeper truth. When an avoidant woman comes back after a super empath snaps, she's not coming back because she's healed. She's coming back because the distance you created activated her own attachment wound, the one she's been outrunning her entire adult life. Her brain isn't saying, "I love him and I want to do better." Her brain is saying, "I can't handle this feeling. I need to feel safe again. He's the one who always made me feel safe." That's not love, that's regulation. And if you take her back in that state, the cycle restarts within 90 days. Guaranteed. The wrong response: "I missed you too, let's start over." The right response: "I appreciate you reaching out, but I need to see different, not hear different. Words don't move me anymore. Not cold, not cruel, just rooted. Just a man who's finally learned that his peace isn't a negotiation." And when she feels that, something deep in her shifts. She realizes for the first time that her access to you isn't automatic anymore. That you're not the safety net she can fall into whenever her avoidance becomes uncomfortable. That you're an actual man with an actual standard. That's when she stops replaying the snap and starts replaying every moment she had you and didn't appreciate it. 5. Who you become after the snap. Most guys, after they go through this, never fully recover their power. They become bitter. They become guarded. They turn the lesson into a wall instead of a foundation. They swear off empathy and start performing a colder version of themselves, and women feel that fake hardness from a mile away. But here's what changes everything, bro. The snap wasn't supposed to make you colder. It was supposed to make you clearer. Not bitter, not guarded, not "I'll never let a woman in again," but calm, grounded, "I know exactly what I deserve," clear. You don't lose your empathy. You upgrade it. You stop spending it on people who treat your depth like a convenience. You start spending it on yourself first, your own needs, your own peace, your own standards. And then, only then, you offer what's left to someone who can actually meet you. The wrong version of you after the snap says, all women are like this. The right version says, I finally understand my own pattern. I'm done picking women who need me to disappear so they can feel safe. This isn't a phase. This isn't healing era. This is you becoming the man you were always supposed to be before you got tangled up trying to love someone who couldn't love you back at the same depth. And the next woman, she won't have to wonder where she stands. She won't have to test your patience. She won't have to push to see if you'll break. Because the man she meets has already been broken open and he rebuilt himself on his own terms. That's the kind of man women don't pull away from. That's the kind of man women come home. So listen, man, this isn't about becoming someone who never gets hurt again. It's about becoming someone whose self-worth isn't up for negotiation, not even by the woman he loves. The snap wasn't your failure. It was your soul telling you the truth your mouth had been too polite to say. And the silence that came after, that wasn't weakness. That was the first honest conversation you've had with yourself in a very long time. You're not the villain in this story. You're not the broken one. You're the man who finally stopped abandoning himself to keep someone else comfortable. Renzi. And if this hit something deep in you, if you felt seen in a way you haven't in a long time, the next video you need to watch is the one on why avoidant women always come back exactly when you stop waiting for them. Because understanding the snap is only step one. Understanding what happens in the silence afterward, that's where your real power lives. I'll see you there.